My name is Frank Meeink. I'm the author of the autobiography of Recovering Skinhead. I joined the racist movement after having a rough upbringing in South Philadelphia. Started to learn the difference between race once I went to an all-black school. Joined this neo-Nazi movement. Started to learn to hate Jews and other people of other races. As I got more into the movement and more active, I became more violent and more hate-filled, which gave me the accolades that I always wanted in my life, that I never got, the attaboys. As I got older, I went to prison for the movement. When I got out, things were just not working the way they were supposed to. A lot of things had changed in me, and I started to learn more about science, and stuff that had never been taught to me the way the movement had always taught me, that we were different, and scientifically we're different. Well, I came to find out through the O.J. Simpson trial. I started learning about DNA. So that was one of the things that started my change, because I'd already started to have black friends and Latino friends, but even at that point, I still wanted to hate, and I hated the Jews. That was my last hatred. But when you have a big swastika tattooed on your neck and skinhead written on your knuckles, you don't have good people skills. And a Jewish man gave me a job doing antique furniture in Philadelphia, and he became a huge mentor in my life. And he was the last person that he broke. He was the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say. And after that, I just got out of it. Had some repercussions, but after the Oklahoma City bombing, and I seen the destruction of what hate does, I wanted to start helping. So I went and I started a hockey program in Philadelphia where we took urban kids, and when I say urban, I mean not just black, I mean urban as in kids that are poor from the city, and we taught them how to play ice hockey together. So from there, that program grew, and I've been doing stuff like that for the last 17 years of my life. Now I'm part of a group called Life After Hate, which is a bunch of formers like myself who help other people that are either struggling with getting out or just lend the ear to someone that's kind of getting out of the movement. And we also help schools with programs, and my expertise is more with the juvenile detention centers and prisons, because I was a criminal. I was a criminal thug, egomaniac with no self-esteem. And by the grace of God, science, and human nature, that has changed in me for today. I probably learned to hate myself first as a kid, and I never thought I was good enough. And but what really started me to hate was once I went to an all-black school, and I was getting jumped, and people wouldn't call it racism. They'd say, "Oh, it's just the black kids. Oh, it's just the neighborhood." I'm saying, no, these kids they're jumping me because of the color of my skin. And so, civil rights groups wouldn't come in and help us out or nothing, because they said, "Oh, well, it's not our call." And so that's what started my hate towards other people. Was that's what always starts with people's hate, is pain. Pain.
Is there any way what started there, hate?
I don't know.
Is it ingrained in them?
I think it's ingrained. I think maybe it was their neighborhood, and I don't know their personal stories. I've later on come to meet some black racists and former black racists who have had some horrible stories, the same stories I went through. In fact, I used to run through this one black neighborhood to get to school every day, me and these other white kids, and we used to all stand together right at the edge of the black neighborhood, and we'd say, "All right, guys, on your mark, get set, go." And we all run through the black neighborhood. Come to find out, like 20 years later, I meet this black guy who tells me he's from that black neighborhood, and he tells me about how he used to run through my dad's neighborhood with his friends the same way. They used to do the on your mark, set, go thing, right? So, it's...
But there's no way of bringing everybody together to speak?
Not, there are now, but back then there wasn't. No, there was nothing back then. If you were my neighbor, what would have happened if the right things would have happened and been in place? You wouldn't have got me out of it, but you would have put a seed in my head. You would have put a seed in my head, and there's one thing for all this, and it's empathy. If you would have came to me, or someone would have came to me and said, "I know what you're going through. I live that way too," or "I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like not to have my parents around."